Hello, my name is Timothy Kmek. I'm with PC3 Media, and we're going to take a backstage tour at Hell's Gate Haunted House. Let's go.
This is where our show starts, in the woods. So you get off the bus, you wait in the tent, and you get to come hike through the woods and into a cemetery before you get to the mansion. Oops. So there's lots of things that are set specifically for actors to get a good scare. This is a perfect pop-out position where, doors are shut, seemingly innocent. We've got these chains up against this metal, and all it takes is a good pop out, loud noise, and an actor in their costume and makeup to get you right out the gate. So everything that's designed here is specifically, to get the best scare possible.
So a lot of the scares are actually on the left side, correct?
Yep. And the whole point of this is to block you from seeing the house. That's just right on the other side of this fence. We have an awesome location because it's got all this natural rock work. It's kind of at the bottom of a quarry, which gives us all these weird winding stones. So we feel like we're kind of going down, and it also holds all of our fog in a nice bowl, so it doesn't float away.
So that's the road that parallels to here, right? That the road out here is the access road?
Yep.
Okay, so you guys never put the beams, the hill up there. It was already placed in.
Yep.
Okay. I thought that was a man-made trench over there.
Oh, the canal is man-made. It's pretty old. This road used to be like an old mule path that would follow along the canal, and then this ended up being a quarry. Over time, it all got grown back in. It was Park District property, and then they loaned it to us for the show.
Okay.
So the front of the house is right there. Like I said, that fence is just kind of blocking it off.
Oh,
So
you can see it.
Wow. Big difference in daylight.
Yeah.
So we can go in this building, then we'll swing back up to the house. Oh, it's still kind of here. I don't know if your camera can pick it up.
Yep.
The laser field.
Okay.
This is one of several puppets we've got. So it's a giant pig head that has counterbalance weight on the back there. So an operator can stand behind it, and they've got buttons to control the mouth, light up the eyes, make pig noises. And if you move it in just the right way, it slides on this track. And with the laser effect, it's pretty daunting to see.
That's crazy.
So this is the cemetery, and this is what we've been slowly expanding on.
Okay.
So we've added a couple new buildings out here. There's a cabin in the woods. There's a coffin barn, like a coffin factory where they're putting together coffins. And the next big project is a mausoleum. So small structure, small barns out here, similarly facaded to look just like a cabin.
Is that where the sewage is then?
What's the sewers?
The sewers?
The sewers are in the house. Oh. Last year we put the cabin out here. 2 years ago before that we put the coffin barn out here. And then next year there's another structure coming up out here.
Yeah, it's crazy when it's the daytime because it looks so much different.
Yeah. It's interesting too because there's a whole bunch of detail work, a whole bunch of set decorations that kind of gets lost in the darkness. It gets lost behind the scare. Everybody's so focused during the nighttime on what's going to come out and get me. They're not looking at oh, they put 40 hours of work into that one wall of brick. But where the customers don't see is the side of our building.
Get out of here.
So it's just a big sound stage.
Wow.
That is freaking cool.
Now, once an actor is put in one place, do they stay there the whole night?
Yeah, actors typically stay in the same position the whole night. they have an opportunity to take a break, make adjustments to their costume if they're sweating off their makeup, get touched up. But generally, you're in the same spot, and then the roaming managers are out there to support you, help you refill your water bottle, coach you on good scares and things like that.
Now, the managers and those leaders, are they already dressed up too in suit as well?
Yeah, it's funny. Everybody, including John, is in costume and makeup every night. So even if you're just the person doing social media tonight, you're out there in the thick of it with them, and it's fun because the customers don't know who's who, and you get to lead by example and show them.
So we probably went into John a couple times then.
Yeah. There's folks who are out here helping manage the crowd, who have an earpiece and they're talking logistics. They'll get a scare in or two, but they have other responsibilities, and it's easiest to just blend in because,
That is kind of cool.
That's crazy, yeah.
We'll head back in and I'll show you the tech loft I was talking about. We'll go back down the hallway the other direction.
Awesome.
We do a full night of just safety drills. Mm-hmm. We do a full dress rehearsal night. We take a lot of time to make sure everybody's comfortable in the space and everybody knows their way out. Where our flyers are hooked up, they have a specific team that's with them to make sure that they can get down if they need to run out or something like that. Everybody's got radios, everybody's in communication. So yeah, it's a privilege that we have all the facilities to kind of support that. Otherwise, it's very difficult to make sure all those things happen. You're in a maze.
Yeah.
This is the study. So after you see that opening show, you get lined up and ready to be spit out in your smaller groups into the rest of the house. Here's a fun fact. These photos here on the wall are of all of our managers.
Oh, really?
There's some special people on the wall as well. You might notice Ariana Grande up there. Got a couple hatches to peer in. This is our darkness room.
Wow.
So we've got some offices back here, some kitchen spaces back here for our food and bar infrastructure. But one of the biggest things backstage that people like to look at is our camera system. Rogodan typically sits here, and he is in charge of making sure that everything is flowing as needed. So if there's a backup in any particular room, if there's a problem in any particular room, he can look at the cameras and talk to the staff about how to best address it. This is Beaker. He's one of our technicians here, kind of our lead tech. On top of all of our cast and crew, there's animatronics that are run off of air, and there's props that have controls, and there's cast and crew who are in harnesses who fly across. So there's a lot of tech, and Beaker is the one who manages all of that. We might catch him in a little bit too.
How many costumes are there altogether?
On an average night, we'll have somewhere like 80 cast and crew in here. Depending on the night, it could be more. And we've got, costumes for large butlers, small butlers, so just because you have one costume or one position doesn't mean you can have one costume. You kind of have to have multiple costumes to fit that one character, just depending on who's cast in that role for the night. This is our costume and makeup space. So you can see some folks are starting to roll in. Alex? How many makeup artists do we have?
Well,
And you do how many people and how much time?
oh girl, depends on the day. Depends on how crazy I'm feeling.
I threw him a random number, but I wanted to make sure I was
I
right.
would say like 10, 11 on a good day.
Artists? Makeup artists?
No, 10, 11 people per
Oh,
person.
each artist does 10 or
Okay,
11.
on a good day.
I see.
Yeah,
All right.
I'm just following.
Show you our Lego model of the house next. This is a scale model of the haunted house. So during COVID, we were closed for the year, and John got a little antsy and decided his pet project was going to be this here. They've been using Lego forever to kind of build out rooms for fun, but he really committed to doing it all to scale. When you're in the house, you don't realize that you're kind of just walking in one big straight line back and forth because it's disorienting, right? You get turned around in all the little rooms. But from an aerial view, it's much more straightforward than you might think. You start over here, make your way around, upstairs, come back out, and you pop out over here.
So the slide is where you slide down.
Yep, the slide's over here. It's made out of a skateboard, Lego skateboard ramp. And we've got this big long corridor, this white hallway you see here, and that's through this door. So the building that we're in is kind of attached right at this end. So this doorway is that there. So what you don't see is this big building that's kind of a T to the house itself.
So that's what leads to that house.
Yep.
Okay. Now, is that the main entrance where all the actors have access?
Yep. So when they come in here, we'll do our warm-ups in here before the show starts, and then everybody gets in their positions through this door.
That's awesome.
Crazy.
Yeah.
It's also nice because a lot of haunted houses are built in a strip mall, or they take over an abandoned, warehouse facility. We've had the pleasure of building this from the ground up. So the ability to have one central walkway through is a huge privilege. The ability to have heated indoor bathrooms, we take for granted. Statesville, which you guys have been to, it's all porta potties. The cast and crew were in a barn with no climate control, so you were doing your makeup in the gravel. Hell's Gate's definitely on the other end of the spectrum now. Every year we have a cast party where everybody who worked that season gets to sign a board and it ends up on our wall. Obviously we've got way more boards than there are up right now because Statesville has been open for 20 years before this show was open. But this is all of our Hell's Gate boards and the past few from Statesville. It's kind of fun to see as you walk down. So the real estate in the building keeps getting eaten up by more and more rooms. When we opened, a lot of stuff on this half of the show wasn't here. So this is our shop, and our shop keeps shrinking and shrinking and shrinking because we keep building further and further into the house. We really try to stick to the storyline, even though there's still clowns and there's still dragons and there's still all the classic phobias. We try to give it a through line. So recently we've been adding to the end to increase the darkness, because the whole point of the show is that the darkness is taking over. So now the further and further in you go, the more and more and more you're kind of enclosed in before the end. So the room we just added is in the sewers. So you go from being in the basement to a laboratory that's in the basement to through a hole in the wall that's now in the sewers. And then you're completely engulfed in the darkness before you get spit out and the show's over.
This is stuff you would do.
Yeah, lots of crossover with theater shop, theater tech. We get a lot of folks who want to work here because they have experience in theater, and then they realize that this is a whole new outlet for creativity.
So for the people who don't know, can you please introduce yourself and what is your role at Hell's Gate?
Sure. My name is John the Flamboy. I am the director, designer, owner, operator, a bunch of things, man. I wake up every day and this is what I do.
That's awesome. And so, what was the inspiration for the story and plot of Hell's Gate?
For me, I wanted to tell more of an old school story for haunted houses. A lot of haunted houses I found were turning into these very much kind of collage rock shows. One scene is not connected to another scene. I'm a theater guy. I grew up doing theater. I was a theater kid in high school, theater kid in college. Still a theater kid at heart. So what I wanted to do is tell a story. I wanted to bring the audience and engage them with an actual story that can arc throughout the entire show so that different characters have backgrounds and bios, things that my audience can connect to emotionally. And it was kind of it's my love affair with haunted houses. I absolutely love haunted houses. I find them to be a form of theater. And so that's kind of what we do different at Zombie Army is we absolutely approach this as a show. This is a show. It has a story, it has characters, and I want the audience to have that kind of emotional, visceral connection with it.
That's awesome. And so, how long has Hell's Gate been running, and how long ago did Statesville join?
Sure. We've been out at Statesville since 1998, so we've been there for a long time. I started Hell's Gate in 2016, and then in 2022 is when we brought the entire team from Statesville over to Hell's Gate. So that way Hell's Gate had kind of its own time to grow roots, its own identity, build its own fan club, and then we just superpowered that by bringing over all the talent from Statesville.
And so was it HUD trying to bring over Statesville and add it to Hell's Gate?
It was not. It was not hard. Both Statesville and Hell's Gate were very similar in the way of how they are designed. They are both story-based shows. They both have characters, icon characters. So really, it was just an act of storytelling. At the end of the day, it was on me to tell a story as to why they're over here. That there was this prison break at Statesville. The prisoners finally got out, and now they're hiding out in the woods at this abandoned mansion. And so very much it was just a story and trying to integrate that in. I wouldn't say it was hard as much as it was terribly exciting. You've got all that talent coming over, all the actors, the managers, like the creatives all coming at the same time. And it really is just exciting to just kind of merge all that together and then see what happens. We didn't want Hell's Gate to become Statesville. And we didn't want the Statesville people to become Hell's Gate as much as we wanted to see what happened when it all came together as one.
That's great. And so every year you add a new room. Is it HUD trying to up the bar every year, adding a new room?
Yeah, no, that's the challenge, right? Be better today than you were yesterday. That's our goal. So when we're designing new rooms, it very much is about, can we push that line? Can we show the audience something they've never seen before? Can we expand the world that we're creating out here and push that story further? Of course, it's a huge challenge because if you fail, it's a lot of money, man. But it's also your entire year. We spend a whole year working on new rooms, new designs, new characters. And it really is this very aggressive desire to be better today than we were yesterday. And that's kind of like, that's our contract with our audience. That's my promise to my audience. So when you pay that money for that ticket, I've been working all year long to show you something you've never seen. It's hard, but it's also the very exciting part. I've been doing this for 25 years, and nothing's more exciting than having a blank space that I get to create a new world in.
That's great. And so, speaking of rooms, what is your favorite or top 3 favorite rooms in the whole haunted house?
Oh, geez. This room that we're in right now, this is always going to be my favorite. It means a lot, to me, to have that foundation room that tells the audience a story, gives them a big theatrical show, and sets the tone for the haunted house. So this room is absolutely my favorite room. And that's why it'll always be here. All we'll ever do is adjust it and improve it and add different little things. But this is a foundation piece. Other than that, I think the whole experience outdoor in the woods, I can't say a room as much as the feeling, because I think a lot of haunted houses have gone away from that outdoor exploration. So I'm really glad that we have that. The sewer rooms, that's our new room this year, and it's my favorite. Which, it should be. It's like you put that much energy into something, it's because you love it. It's because you love what you're doing. And the sewer room it's beautiful and terrifying, and it's ugly, and it's dirty, and it's wet, and it's very exciting. I dig it.
That's awesome. And so, what are some things that surprised you in creating Hell's Gate?
Geez, how much money it costs. Wow. We are out in the middle of the woods. I always tell people when they ask me about my business plan, I say this is an act of madness. We came out in the woods to build all of this from scratch. There's nothing here except a rock quarry and a forest. So every time I try to do something outside, it's incredibly expensive because we're on a limestone rock bed. That surprises me every darn time. Other than that, I think the great surprise, the one that is the most fulfilling is how much Hell's Gate has engaged with its audience, and how much that audience has become super fans. We have audience members here every single weekend because they know this is all improvisation. There's 150 actors in here. Every night the show is different based on the talent. And I really have enjoyed watching that connection, that relationship with the audience. That's been one of my favorite surprises out here.
That's great. And so, what are some things that make a really good haunted house?
For me, it is story, actors, and that commitment to push the line, right? Like that's what we're trying to do here. You know, we establish a story. We're dedicated to our story. But above all, you know, no matter what, this is a cool room, right? Yeah, it's cool, it's pretty, whatever. It ain't cool, it ain't really cool until the actors are in here. It ain't a show until the actors are in here. So for me, it's always about creating a show that empowers your actors, gives them the best opportunity to entertain. That's what we're doing here. I mean, this is live entertainment. So I think great haunted houses are haunted houses that are actor-based haunted houses and tell a story.
Oh, that's awesome. And so, as a creator of a haunted house, do you still enjoy going through them as a guest?
Oh my God, yeah. I went last week, and then I went the week before. I mean, I have so many friends and my family members. My sister and my brother-in-law, like they run a haunted house. My in-law family run a second haunted house. I love going to support and see other people's shows because, of course, I still have that kid reaction of going in a haunted house. I mean, it's all make-believe and fun. It's this great opportunity to leave everything behind and just go have a good time. So yeah, I love going to haunted houses, absolutely.
That's great. And so, have you ever doubted your career? And if so, how did you overcome it?
I've ever doubted my career. I mean, I've had enough wild failures in my career, but not so much where I was looking for a new one, no. I mean, I grew up in the theater, so I didn't expect to make much money doing any of this. I kind of committed to not making money, when I got a theater degree. Sorry, kids, that's the truth. Theater degrees don't make a lot of money. But, you have failures constantly, right? Failures are your greatest teachers. Failure can make you doubt yourself and run away from the challenge, or failure can give you the lessons to face the next challenge. And this career has been full of failures, absolutely. I have tried things that have gone terribly wrong. I have risked money and lost it. I had a haunted house sink to the bottom of Lake Michigan. And those are hard days. They are. I won't lie. Those are hard days to get over. But we're a whole company, and a lot of us are all friends, and it is a really great thing to have all this support from all this talent. And anytime I start to get the slightest bit doubt, I just remember who's all behind me, and we keep moving forward.
That's awesome. And so, how do you deal with problematic guests?
Catapults. Yeah, they don't see them. Trapdoors and catapults, just right back to the parking lot. No. We, your dad will get it, but most kids won't. We learn everything we need to learn from Patrick Swayze in Roadhouse.
Be nice until it's time to not be nice.
So when we have problematic guests, it is hospitality. Like when in the off season, we go train, in Florida with Disney and Universal Studios. And this is an entertainment business. Hospitality is the most important. So the first thing we do is we try to talk to our guests that is a problem. And when talking doesn't work, we simply escort them from the property. We are not going to let them ruin other guests' night. We're not going to let them ruin our actors' nights. There is a contract here, a relationship between the audience and the performer. And if the audience violates that contract, then we kindly ask them to leave. But for the most part, I would say we have an amazing audience, 99.9999%. We have these wonderful nights where we don't, have problems with the audience. Most of the problems with the audience is that they're having too much fun, so they're kind of knocking their friends around in the room, and we just gotta tell them to calm down a little bit. I love those audience, though. That's not a problem. We're here to entertain them, and they're having a good time. Every once in a while, you do get people that come from the bar, and they're a little too drunk, and sometimes we'll just pull them out and say, you need to come back on another night, when you can walk and talk like a human being.
Yeah, that's great. And so where can others purchase tickets to Hell's Gate?
They can go to hellsgate.com.
That's awesome. And so that's the interview. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you very much, man. Very nice having you.
Thank you.